Staying alive is about solving problems and those problems that occur with your particular weapon system. Speed reload, mag out, mag in. Good job, Leon. All right, gentlemen, thank you guys for coming out today. You guys have a lot of experience in, I call it the box. And in that box, you guys are extremely comfortable operating inside there because you guys are very, very successful. Well, what my goal today is to do with you guys is to expand that box, that knowledge box. I want you to grow your box a little bit bigger, maybe even to the degree today of actual failure. All right, hold for a second. Finger off the trigger. Present your gun. And that is okay, because we need to know where our actual failure limit is. I'm gonna pull the trigger. And when we can get to that failure limit, then our next goal is to actually go beyond and break through that so we can create that box a little bit bigger so that now that failure actually becomes a success. Good shot, perfect. That's the way to do it. And that's what I want to look at today. I want you to have the knowledge that you guys already have, and I want you to just be open-minded to some new things. And I want you to take that knowledge that works for me, and what I really need you to do is figure out what works best for you, because my body mechanics are different than your body mechanics. So specifically, this isn't a class about do everything identical to me. You need to figure out what tactic and technique works best for you based on the operation or the environment that you're operating in. Skills. You have to be able to actually come out here and run a gun and function it under stress. And then of course you're already out here, which shows me your desire. Your desire is to succeed. So let's go expand our knowledge box. So the first thing that I'll cover real quick is there are a couple different ways in which you may want to think about transitioning. The first way, your weapon is up here. So I'm going to use weapon hand today and reaction hand today. You can take your reaction hand, which I will refer to as your non-firing hand. You can take that reaction hand and dump the gun. As you do so, your weapon hand goes right for your secondary, comes out, and it's up on target. What that allows you to do is, when you do your check drill and you put your secondary weapon system away, I can bring the gun up, check the chamber really quickly, and determine why that primary weapon system stopped working. Was it an empty mag or was it a double feed? So as you're doing your transition, that is what I want you to think about. Why did my primary weapon stop running? And then go into finding the solution, treating the signs and symptoms for whatever you need to, whether it be a double feed or whether it's just a speed reload. Now that is one way that you may choose to do it. The other way is when you're in this position, you roll the gun inboard, still accessing your secondary weapon system with your weapon hand, meet the gun, and punch out from there. Either way is fine. The difference in this position is that once you holster, I then will grab my primary from this position here and have to roll it to look at it. The only slight variant here is that from this position, I can bring it up, look, and immediately go in and treat the symptom. However you decide to do it, ultimately is up to you. Remember, what we're looking at right now is we need to get bullets on target as fast as possible with our secondary weapon system. If we need to run an extended amount of time or stay on our handgun an extended amount of time, then what should we probably do with our primary? Transition! Then move it around, get it locked into position, and start making movement. Other than that, we need to get our secondary up. 90% of the time, if you're 50 yards or in, and I know 50 yards is stretching it, you will not be wrong for drawing your secondary weapon system and engaging that target. Now, to some of the shooters that may be here, you might be able to actually and successfully engage targets with your secondary out to 100 yards. If you can do that, then great. It's just going to increase your lethality for doing what you need to do. All right, guys, the next drill that we're about to go into is what we call the check drill. What happens now is we're going to simulate that both Neil and I's primary weapon systems have gone down at the same time. But the game's not over, because whoever we were engaging at that point could still be there. So we're going to transition to our secondary weapon system. When we do so, after we transition, it's also important to work out when do we start getting each other's primary weapon systems back up. All that it basically means is you can use whatever terminology you want. I ask you today to just use the word check, so at least as individuals we're all on the same sheet of music. So Neil's going to help me do the check drill. What weapon system should we actually load first when we have the ability to load either our primary or secondary? Which one's more advantageous to load first?
Secondary.
Why is that, Mark?
Because you'll forget.
Exactly, because you're generally going to forget about that secondary, and it's on you for a reason, and that reason is to save your life. So the first thing that we'll do, at least come out, make sure you're good to go, do a press check. Once you've done that, and you know that there is one in the pipe, at that point, then you can load your primary weapon. Don't forget when you guys are out here today to do a press check. Good to go, Neil?
Yeah.
I'm glad I chose you. All right, stand by. Bust them.
Check. Okay.
Secondary goes away. You'll bring your primary up, reload it.
Ready. Check. Okay. Scanning for additional bad guys. That allows your partner to get his gun up and running. Ready.
And that's it. All right, guys, let's run the drill. Don't look down and do that press check, Mark. If you're going to do a press check, get it up, get it in front of you out of habit. Start it down here, then have the potential of creating training scars. All right, gents, you're good to go. Back. Oh, this is nice. Hey, you're both fingering your stuff. You gotta be kidding me. All right, let's do it again. You're both reloading your primary at the same time. No need to look at him. He'll tell you when he's ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Say ready.
Ready.
There you go. Say okay.
Okay. Okay.
There you go. 4 rounds. Headshots this time, Corey, if you can. Bust them.
Okay.
Fix it, fix it. Secondary, secondary, secondary. That's how we fix that problem. Great job.
Okay.
What would have happened if you went into fixing your primary right then? He was fixed. Exactly. 2 guns would have been down. That's why we never assume. Great job, Carl. Took you a minute, a little bit of hesitation, but you fixed it.
Check.
Outstanding job, Corey. Good job actually topping that gun off, Corey. Outstanding. That's the way to think. Now, you already called check. So you already called check. He gave you permission. Okay. Good job topping off your secondary, but now he's covering you the whole time, so get your primary up and running. Try to get that muzzle up. I know it's heavy, but that way when we start movement drills and we're running, we're not muzzle sweeping anybody. Now, there you go. Good job.
So when he says check, that's the order for the other person to do a check, and you give a ready.
No, what's going to happen here, basically what you're looking at is your primary weapon systems, worst case scenario, went down at the same time. So what ends up happening is you got to deconflict somewhere. So one of you got to figure out who's going to fix your problem first. And that's where the check drill comes into. So what you'll say is, you're there first, you're just going to say check. At that point, you're asking his permission, saying, listen, with all the other stuff going on right now, are we good? Are you good to actually cover me because I have to get my primary up and running? That's when he says, okay. As soon as he gets the okay, or you get the okay, as soon as you get that, that lets you know, hey, if you need to top off your secondary like you did, which is good, it saved my butt once, let's load it up so it can save my butt again, right? And then, of course, you get your primary up as well. When you do that, you just say ready. And then he knows that if he has any problems, he'll call what?
Check.
And that's it. All right, keep loading up. Don't put that thing away until he gives you permission, Hot Rod. Pistol, 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 pistol! You're screwing with your primary, Alan! Look how long that took! You're killing me! You're killing killing the team, Alan. You know that? Did you see him over here, Mark? He's letting you down, my friend. All right, fix it. He's over there fingering his stuff, taking his gun apart, oiling her. Normally Alan's Top Gun. Really good job. I saw guys actually doing tack reloads on your secondary. Why is that important?
Top it off.
Top it off.
Keep it running.
Keep it running. Because of what? What
Next time you
specific?
pull it out, it needs to be loaded.
It does. Just like Mark said, and just like Corey was talking about, we always want that thing topped off in our holster, ready to go, because it saved our life once, but we need it to be there again, and one round in that gun, and then it goes to slide lock, is not saving our ass. We actually need more bullets in case there's more bad guys at that event. Remember, we're not just encountering this situation, there can be more situations that we're actually getting involved in. The next thing that we're going to talk about, basically I call it shooting at it a tube. That's if you have any type of red dot system. If you're running like an ACOG or something like that, this probably isn't really applying to you, because what we're looking at is that for some reason the dot has failed us. So we're looking at optics specifically that have a red dot inside them, that while we were engaging and while we were shooting, the dot goes off. And there's some things that you really kind of need to think about, and that is, can I continue to engage with my optic off? How far can I engage with my optic off? And what is basically the size of my target that I'm engaging? If we're talking about center mass at 15 yards, pretty much once I put that human figure in my tube, I'm probably going to be okay with a good center mass shot. But if you tell me I need to do a headshot at 15 with the optic off, I need to rethink my priority, and unfortunately, you're not going to have a lot of time to do that, because it goes off during the engagement, and you have to figure, do I transition to my what? What weapon system? Secondary. And utilize that, because that weapon system has iron sights, so you don't have to turn them on, you don't have to turn them off, they don't fog up generally, and they generally don't get knocked off the gun, so they're always there. However, the optic's a little bit different. Things can frag it, things can get knocked off of it, you can jump over a wall and it hits the concrete and it's destroyed. If you have time to use backups, should you do that? I mean, what's generally more lethal? 5.56 or 9 mil? And I'm not talking, you know, I don't want to go into big ballistics here, but generally your most violent weapon system that you guys are training with today is your primary, thus the word of primary. So if you have time, what should you do? Get your primary up, which means that if you're running folding sights, you flip them up and get them back into the fight, and then you utilize it. If your optic's completely smashed, you may need to figure out a way to get that optic off. If you're using quick release, that's great. If you're using hexi nuts, that could be a problem. So we do with what we can. At that point, I could shoot possibly over my optic. So the next drill that we're gonna do, and I'm gonna have somebody come up here and verify, is basically a drill with the optic off. So Carl, can you come on up, look through my optic to make sure I'm not cheating, telling you that I'm gonna do it, and I really don't. Are you sure? Yeah. Were your eyes open? I'm sure. I hope so. All right, going hot. All I want you to do is find out where your spot is. Take your time, bring the gun up. And do whatever you need to do. And as you can see, I mean, you're able to get headshots. So at this distance, you can successfully get headshots. Now, as you get back further and further, if you had a spot of the body that you could pick, what would it be? Center of mass, center of whatever that mass is that presents itself. So the bigger, the better. If it gets more refined, we'll have to flip up our irons at that point. So that's the way generally the drill's gonna work. Any questions? And from here on out, since you guys are partnered up, what I would want you to do is transition all the time to your secondary weapon system, because we're at a good engagement range from here. Any questions with that? All right, your secondary good, Carl? Bet your life on it?
What?
Bet your life on it?
Yeah, I checked it when I was walking out.
Good to go then. Lesson learned right there was what? That's why we do a press check, huh?
The mag wasn't all the way in.
That's why we do a press check. All right, let's go. Good shoot. You're all over that head. Nice. Give me a cadence of 4 rounds. Stand by. Bust them. Good job.
Looks like Wilson from Castaway.
It's gonna look, yeah, it's gonna look a little crazy. Come on up here for a second, guys. I want to talk about this one. So what we're gonna do on this one is we are gonna use our flip ups. I think everybody here, yours is a little bit indented, Connor. Everybody else is up top. Yours is spring loaded. So there are a couple different manufacturers here. Now remember that you gotta be very, very careful. And when you practice these techniques, remember that every bullet that gets launched out of the gun is a liability if it does not hit the bad guy. So we gotta, if you're gonna practice and do those techniques, make sure you know where your rounds are impacting. For those that do have flip ups, this is one of the things that I want you to consider. You can do the traditional front sight, right? And ghost ring in your dead center and line them up. Or what you can do is what I call shooting out of the notch. It's not, when I say I call it, I didn't invent it, I just learned it like everybody else. And what we're gonna do is basically our front sight and the bottom of the front sight right here, this portion is what I'm talking about in this simulation. And what I'm doing is I'm taking my rear sight and I'm holding it underneath. Now, traditionally, what I would normally do is I would line it up. And if I line it up, I now have a bullet drop from muzzle to sight relationship here, where my bore is. So technically, if this was where I was hoping to get rounds on right here, in reality, because I'm close, they would be right in here. That also takes time. Time for me in a heated battle to get the gun up, drop my front sight into the back ghost ring, get it lined up perfectly, squeeze the shot off, and not only that, but keep in mind that I now need to hold high. By doing this particular technique, you're basically putting this portion right here above the rear, and what it does is it takes the gun from this position and moves it slightly, which actually means that this will be point of aim, point of impact. This technique that I'm going to show you that I learned many years ago in the military is a good technique for coming in, engaging targets, probably within 10 yards or less. 10 yards or less, you're going to be okay. And anything beyond 10 yards, it's not probably going to work for you in the amount of time it's going to take for you to try to get things lined up. You'd be best off getting it into the ghost ring and just engaging. So as soon as I come up, I put that shooting out of the notch, front sight above the ghost ring, and pull the trigger. And when I do, I'm shooting point of aim, point of impact. You'll get used to it. It's going to take you a few rounds to get used to it. But once you do, you're going to see how fast you can actually start tracking your front sight. One more recommendation that I would recommend for you guys is, and I'm going to use Neil as an example because our setups are very, very close. You see Neil? It's blacked out right here. And this is really kind of important. It's almost like the old handgun days when we didn't have night sights and you actually had to take a marker and kind of paint your front sight on your 1911, old school style, right? So now the difference is that's Neil's front sight. For him to try to just shoot out of the notch with it, it might be a little slow. So all that I did was put some green or orange paint. Now I didn't go orange because of why? Generally, I don't want my dot and the sight to look the same, especially if for some reason it pops up during an engagement for whatever reason and the spring system breaks. So all you have to do here now is I put the green above the rear, which makes it simple for me and for my eyes to see it since you shoot both eyes open. We're just going to try it, run through some drills, and then if you need to, we'll go back to the truck and we'll paint front sights if you think it's something that you desire. So I'll give a demonstration real quick and then we'll turn loose. Check. Okay. Ready. Go to work. Good job, Carl. Headshot. Great transition, Derek. Good job. Reload, reload. Mag out, mag in. Nice job. Nice reload, Neil. Tell him hold. Good reload, Derek. He said ready. Before you put it away, what do you do though? Just in case he has another malfunction. So before you put it away, make sure he gives you permission.
He did. You said okay, right?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yep. Say it. Say it again. Check. Check! There you go. There you go. All right, guys. Everybody have enough mags? Cease fire. Range is cold. Let's gather around real quick. All right, on this particular drill, this is what we call a moving move drill.
Low ready, should be in your pocket. Bust them.
With these weapon systems, the way you can work this thing now, it's easy to work the gun on safe. You're on safe, you flip on fire. You're on fire, once the gun shoots over, you put it back on safe at that point. So it allows you the ability to quickly manipulate your weapon system. This drill also helps us if we have problems working our safety. You generally won't by the time this drill is over. You'll be okay working your safety. What I need you guys to think about is if I'm making movement and I'm not engaging, so I'm moving with my primary, but I'm not engaging, then I need to be on safe. If I have to engage, I'll disengage my safety, I'll neutralize the threat. If that is the only threat, and once I've scanned the area and there are no more threats, I will then put the gun back on safe. Other than that, if there are more people that I need to engage and take out, then what condition is the weapon going to be in? It's going to be on what? Fire. Okay, because that makes tactical sense at that point. The way this particular drill is going to work is I will start you from the fire position. You'll all be on fire. You will all call the moving command. Everybody online will say moving. You will then be waiting for me to give you permission to make movement, and that will be called move. Moving, move. Once you get the move command, you'll put your weapon on safe. You'll move, in this case, in a low ready, walking down, looking at your targets down range. When I say bust them or threat, at that point, we're also simulating that you are too far away to actually shoot on the move successfully. So we're going to simulate that you need to, and when I say simulate, we're simulating that the targets are extremely far. So what I want you to do is stop, post up, and engage and neutralize that threat. You're on fire. You're going to call moving. I'll say move, weapon back on safe. You'll continue on, and you'll see it with this drill.
Weapon is on fire.
You're bringing the gun straight back. So in a sense, your reaction hand is just supporting the gun. Your weapon hand is pulling it right into the pocket.
Moving. Move.
So from this position, I'm still looking over my optic. I can see the target. All that I'm doing from here is cheeking and bringing the gun in.
Bust up.
It's just a different style technique. You never know where you're going to find yourself in. You have to go shoot over the top of something. You start to bring the gun up, collapse it, and then snap it right back. So it's just a different technique that I need you guys to try. Then we'll do it from a low ready. If there are no questions, let's get online. Weapon is on fire. You're at a high ready. It shouldn't be shouldered.
All right, call it. Moving. Move.
Bust up!
Great job. Mag out, mag in. Get into place. Hustle, hustle. Get back up. Fix it, fix it. There you go.
Great job, Corey. Great job. Outstanding. Hustle up, hustle up, hustle up. He's moving. There you go. Good job. Headshots this time. Headshots only. 4 rounds on each on the head. If you're back at distance and you have to transition immediately to your secondary, body shots are fine. Okay, let's keep it real. I'm not going to aim at some dude's head when I can shoot him in the chest with my secondary weapon system much faster. Remember, I don't want guys getting in the habit. You think that it's quicker by looking through your tube. Don't look through your optic. You're looking over your optic, and then when I call it out, you bring your optic up, cheek the gun, finish cheeking the weapon system, and then engage. Does that make sense? Don't walk and look through your optic because you're going to lose a lot more of what's happening in the environment as it's being presented to you. So we're going to run this hard again. Same thing, post up, keeping the peripheral vision, what other shooters are doing, so don't go forward. You know, try to stay dressed up online with one another. Outstanding effort today. You guys ready? Let's do it again. Once you fire your 4 rounds, call it again. When you call it, you put your weapon on what? Good to go. Call it. Move. Bust up. job, Alan.
Okay.
Hold fire. You don't need to keep engaging. Hold fire. Bust them! Some of you guys did a real good job transitioning to your secondary weapon systems. Outstanding. I saw you guys over here. You guys punched out with your pistols, worked your check drills out. I thought it looked really clean. Some people were screwing with their primaries. Okay? Remember that it'll get you by out here. I mean, you know what I mean? We all make mistakes, and that's good, and that's what I'm talking about expanding our box. But our goal is to train for that worst case scenario, which means I'm receiving fire as my primary weapon system clicks. I don't care about it. I have lost faith in it because it does not work anymore. At that point, I dump it and go to my secondary weapon system. At least it's a weapon system that I know is functioning at that moment in time. It may stop functioning here really soon, and at that point, I'll make a different thought process. One of the things that we will do as we are progressing is we will start topping off our primary mag. I'm not having you guys do it because I'm wanting a reaction from you. But as we continue with our primary in a gunfight, what should we probably be doing?
Make sure your primary is good to go all the way.
That way I don't have to pull out my secondary weapon system unless it's a hard malfunction. Because if we have time in the gunfight, if we're allotted that time, and I can top off my primary in a lull by simply telling Alan, check, and he says, okay, that's it. I'm gonna do my normal tack reload, top off my primary, and then one of the things that you need to think about in this case is whichever one is your first magazine that you normally speed reload from, you start bumping and consolidating your magazines forward. That way you don't have to actually start drawing from the rear. So a lot of forward thinking needs to go into this and problem solving so that you, the operator, when you're under stress and under fire, things are working a little bit easier for you. Your mags are back up front, right where they need to be, right where they're easier for you to get. Some of those extra mags that you carry aren't in spots where you can access them very, very quickly. So all that we do is we start bumping them forward and consolidating. If you're like Derek here and you're running a ready mag, then what Derek's constantly doing is feeding his ready mag, because in this particular setup what he's doing is his speed reload comes from his gun. It comes from that ready mag hanging off of his gun. So what he's consciously doing the whole time in an effort to make his weapon system work faster is he's feeding the ready mag. If he uses this one ready mag and puts in just a primary, okay, just loads this one up over here, and he doesn't put this one in, well, I guess it was great for the first shootout portion, but what's happening for the rest of the shootout portion? So in a sense, he's kind of doing two things. He's loading his primary on his check drill, and he is also loading his ready mag again. And then if there is a good enough lull, he's bumping everything forward. So life gets easier for him. And those are the things that we need to think about. This game is about problem solving. Staying alive is about solving problems, and those problems that occur with your particular weapon system. At this point, you're being presented with a lot of targets. Hopefully in real life, you don't have this many guys standing there, and then generally they don't line up like that, unfortunately, and they usually don't stand there letting you fire at them. The goal here is, as we make our lateral movement, I want you to think about your foot movement, staying on the balls of your feet, and when you're breaking that shot off. So of course there's trigger control, there's follow through, there's where is my dot when I do that at that point, so sight picture of course. And if I'm making movement in this direction here, so I'm moving laterally here, what happens if I hold my dot dead center? Where when I pull that trigger are the rounds probably going to go?
Neck or head. Pass it to the right.
Okay, a little bit over in here, because I'm moving in this direction, which means I need to lead it just slightly. Now, therein lies a little bit more. How much do I lead it? Well, how fast are you moving? Are you moving like this? I probably don't need to lead it at this distance. If I'm actually moving like this, I may need to lead it a little bit depending upon when I break my shot off. So your rhythm of movement's important, your cadence of fire is important, and what we're looking at is 4 rounds on each target. Once I'm done engaging this target, what should I then be doing? Advancing my muzzle towards the next target. Exactly right. So trying to get my dot stabilized as fast as possible. So I'm going to do a demo for you guys. All right, all that you're going to do, balls of your feet, we do not crisscross or you're going to end up falling. It's very dangerous, so we do not want that to happen. So I bring the gun up, I start to track the target. Remember, advance your muzzle when you can.
Check!
Ready! Line it up on Mark. Mark's first shooter. Shake it. Good job, Carl. Nice. Take your time. Good job. You're on your secondary weapon system, making movement, engaging and neutralizing when you can. Later on, I'll try to start throwing in where I will give you time to actually get your primary up and running. Okay, so we'll start incorporating it while it's moving. That's why everything that we do, we're trying to get our weapon systems, both primary and secondary, somewhere up into our workspace so that if we start doing moving drills down the range, you guys can actually see where it is you're going while reloading and topping off or tack reloading your weapon system in your workspace and not losing sight of what's going on downrange. In reality, what we're looking at is you just watch the bad guy shift positions on you from the corner of a building to he's behind the car now. Had you been doing it down here, you're going to lose sight of that and not know that that's happening. Out on the flat range, it's important just mainly for safety. But we got to look at what is the big picture. The big picture is I do it in my workspace so I can see what's going on downrange in front of me, so I can see my operators because they will make mistakes under fire. Some guys will start getting into an area where it could be a line of fire issue, okay, if there's not enough dead space. So these are all things that you guys need to think about. All right, we're going to run it back. There you go, Neil. Side step, Neil. You're doing all sorts of weird shit. Side step, side step. Keep moving. Good job. Keep moving. Okay. Decock, decock, decock. Nope, face target. You got the right, nope, I just said decock. I didn't want you putting it in there with the hammer now. Do your reload, you're under check. Good to go. Good job, good job. Derek actually brought up a really good question. That question is, why are we choosing different styles of movement? I'm teaching you a variety of ways to move, both indoors and outdoors. If it's an extended period of time, you're probably just going to utilize another technique that I'm going to show you later that's been taught many times over. One of the good things is about this technique is, should you have to actually make movement for some odd reason, for instance, cabinet, couch, some place to actually get behind and utilize as some type of cover or concealment, then you will actually be able to get there safely by sidestepping. Couple of the advantages. If you sidestep and you hit something, right, because it's a little bit low light, then you're only impacting it with the side of your leg. So at that point, once you hit it, you can make movement, bump around it, and then continue on to wherever it was that you decided to make movement to. Secondly, if you're wearing tactical gear and you're running plates, and the threats are down there, most importantly at that point is you are facing forward so that if you do get impacted by engaging 5 guys by yourself or with only 2 guys in that room, when the rounds are firing back on you, at that point you are squared up as best to the threat. There are going to be choices later where you as the individual are going to have to decide, and I'll run you through those drills. Do I square up and take the target or risk the heart shot? And we're going to go through all of those drills. So at the end, I won't be telling you what exactly to do specifically. You, because I can't be there with you when you have these encounters, you will make that decision on your own, as long as you understand why you need to possibly square up to certain targets or not. Next drill, you guys ready? Okay.
For whatever reason, I'm making movement in this direction right here. I have to make movement in this direction right here, so I'm holding on it. However, as I'm making movement, and I'm squared up to where I perceive that the threat may be, whether it's a long hallway, whatever, from this position, what's going to happen is, just like Derek said, I'm either in a high ready position or I'm in a low ready position. I'm moving while I'm making movement, and you may choose to do the old classic Groucho duck walk, right? Heel toe, heel toe. You'll have to figure out what works best for you and your body mechanics. As I'm moving from this position, all that's going to happen is a threat has presented itself. I'm going to make movement, find my dot, engage, and then I'm gonna go right back to holding on what it was that I was pointing my gun at in the first place. If another target presents itself, then you will engage that. These are extremely close, so you're gonna find yourself walking all the way down, engaging targets on your left. For you, Alan, since you're a lefty, going in this direction is gonna have its limitations, which means you have to get your shots off a little bit earlier.
So all that's basically going to happen is remember where you put your dot, depending upon how fast you're moving, is going to be extremely important. You may need to lead the target. All right, first shooter. Shoot. Bust. All right, now from this side, what you're going to see body mechanic wise, you want to take them in advance as much as possible. Once you pass that target a little bit, if you pass them and can't get a shot off, then I'm going to have you blow by that target for this particular range drill. Okay! Ready, Derek? Bust them. Okay. You got to decock that thing. If the hammer is back in this condition, after you call check, you're going to decock, flip the safety up and off, thumb behind the hammer, and then you're going to holster the firearm from here. At this point, by leaving the thumb behind the hammer, the benefit and the gain is that if dirt, debris, tree branches, twigs, straps get inside the trigger guard here, at least you'll feel the hammer start to cock back. When it does, you know that something is wrong because the hammer shouldn't be cocking back, at which point you can pull it back out, look, see the obstruction, clear it. Again, now I would have to decock, safety up and off, thumb behind the hammer, jam it back into my holster, and I'm good to go. So you just have to be a little more protective over double single guns. Outstanding shooting. Great job. All right, guys, yesterday we did the movement where we were walking in this direction, engaging targets, only worrying about targets and threats that were off to our left. Today, this technique's a little bit different in the fact that what we're really concentrating on is something has caught our eye downrange. So we need to actually point our muzzle at a low ready or high ready, downrange, worrying about whether or not a potential threat could pop out and engage us. However, as we are making movement in that direction, a threat has popped up on our left-hand side. So we're going to stop and engage that. Now, how you engage that, based on how I call out the number and the round count on that particular target, is going to affect you. In some cases, you'll be able to take that threat on the move, and in other cases, you're going to want to stop, square up to that threat, get the max use of your armor, if you're running armor, squaring up, engage that threat. But what's most important after you're done neutralizing that threat is turning right back and engaging it. So for instance, and I'm going to go hot here, if I'm making movement here and I call out target 1, then take target 1 as many times as you can. As soon as I'm done engaging target 1 though, I need to be right back to protecting that corner, that threat. Now if I call out target 2 and you're right here, then you're going to need to turn, engage, and then get right back on your corner, whichever works best for you. If I call out 5, take it on the fly. If I call out 5, stop. Transition if you need to, and then continue on. So now at this point, I'm going to be on my secondary weapon system. Moving. Move. 1. Nice and easy. 2. Nice shooting. Outstanding job. 2 to the body on 7. Take him. All right, let's move. 9 again. 4 to the body. 4 to the head. Good job. 8. 8. 4 to the body. 4 to the head. You're under check. Feed your ready mag. Feed your ready mag. Consolidate. There you go. That's it. Nice job. All
right, basically on this drill, it's another shooting and moving drill, but what we're gonna be doing is, I'll call out a specific target number. You'll engage that target with 4 to the body and 4 to the head. So on some of the shots, you'll actually be able to engage that target on the fly. If you do not think that you can safely engage that on the fly, then basically post up, stop, engage the target, and take your headshots however you need to. Anytime I call steel, you're gonna give me 5 rounds on that steel. Now, once we get up close for safety reasons, we're not gonna engage the steel anymore. But if all of a sudden something happens and you're on your secondary weapon system, then I would expect you to engage that steel with your secondary weapon system. This is a slow moving drill. We're not worried about moving fast. And in fact, on this particular drill, we're gonna go 4 to the body and 4 to the head on every single target that I call out. So on this particular range drill, if I call out target 1, engage it. How many rounds to the body? How many to the head? Steel, engage the steel. Moving. At that point, I start making movement. If I say steel, take it. Scan. What would I do from this position right here?
Check.
Okay. Do your reload. Moving.
Move.
Safety's on. Engage 3. Steel. Outstanding. Keep moving. Target 5. Good job. Safe and hang. Nice.
Moving.
Move. 1.
All right. Moving.
Move. 2.
Steel.
Come on, hit it. There you go. Take it. Take that steel. Give me 2 more. Good hit. Miss. Hit.
Check.
Okay. That's why we do a chamber check, for God's sakes. Fix it. Pressure off the magazine. Strip it. There you go. Is the chamber clear? Is the chamber clear? Did you get a good look? If it's clear, go for it. Ready?
No.
I didn't think so, Hot Rod. Yeah, you got a little rat's nest going on in there. Fix it. Hustle up, hustle up. 5's getting up. I can see him getting up. So get that primary loaded. All right, 5 standing up now. He's cooking. There you go. Good job. Steel. 2. Gonna go 4 to the head on 2. Miss, miss. All right, hold for a second. Finger off the trigger. Present your gun. You just hold your gun. I'm gonna pull the trigger. Just move it off right there. Is it there? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's there. Is it there? Mm-hmm. Yep. Is it there? Mm-hmm. All right, put your finger on the trigger. I'll pull both. Let me see right there. Stand by. Is it there? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Fix your gun. Fix your gun. All right, trigger control. You do it now. You know what it feels like. Come on, slow it down. Easy. Slack. Gun gets tight. Good shot. All right, call for check.
Check.
Okay. That's really good. What it shows is that you're presenting the gun exactly where you need to, even when we're out at 15 to 20 yards with your secondary weapon system. The only thing we got to do is, on that particular gun, take the slack out of the trigger, get it to that gnat's ass, razor's edge, and then do a slow press to the rear. Yes, it's there. So when you saw me firing it, that's what I'm doing. That's why it's working. So your sight picture is dead on, obviously, because we hit that steel every time. Then when I took your finger, what I'm doing with your finger is pulling your finger back, letting you feel how tight that gets, right to that gnat's razor's edge. And then when you did that next time, all your rounds hit that steel. Gun gets tight. Good shot. Way to smoke it, man. Way to stick with it. Nice shooting. Steel! 1! Moving! Move! 3! Pistol, pistol, pistol. Finish him off. Steel. Slow down. Speed reload. He's getting back up. Give me 5 rounds on the steel. Take your time. Trigger control. Hit, hit. Miss, miss. Hit, hit, hit. Good job. Check. Okay. If you're going to do a proper tack reload, do a proper one next time, not that. It's like a modified.
Ready!
Outstanding. Good comms. Call it.
Moving!
Move! Forward! Pistol, pistol, pistol! Steel! Good hits. Call for check.
Check!
Okay. Do a proper tack reload on your secondary. Proper, not your tack reload. By the beard of Zeus. Good job, Mark. Take your time. Take your time.
What I always enjoy about you make all the drills dynamic. So every time students are running through these, everybody's running the drill a little bit differently. On these dynamic drills, you're able to push each one of us to our kind of mind melt point, right? Take us right to that. So we're still safe, not dangerous to ourselves or others, but you definitely make us think about it. You're throwing a lot of different things at us at the same time and making us have to think through the basics, think through, you know, everything that we learned. So
And like
it's
you
good drill.
said, you know, when I'm dealing with good shooters like you, what I'm doing is I have to wait until I believe that you're going to start having more problems, and then I try to accentuate on those problems, because then it causes you to work through those problems,
Right.
which you did. When you slowed down on your secondary, all your hits, you were smoking steel. When you rushed
Right.
it, your tack reload,
Yep.
it was a modified tack reload, but towards the end, what happened? You finally kicked in and you started doing a real and a proper tack reload on your secondary weapon system. You had a problem with your primary. I saw the mag fall out of it, so as soon as I saw the mag fall out of it, I didn't want you to know about it,
Right.
unless you really did, and then have you engage the target, therefore experiencing another problem, which is transition to your secondary. Outstanding shooting.
Appreciate it, man.
It's always good working with you.
You too.
Oh, that was good, man. Couple different ways to negotiate and handle barricades that you guys need to think about. Most of the time, people have you punch your barrel and muzzle past a barricade. In this case, we want to stay back. That might be great if range safety rules tell you to do that, but unfortunately what they're doing is they're building training scars, because you need to index yourself, your gun, whether it be your primary or secondary, off of this barricade. So what we're going to do is we're going to treat this like weapon side barricade, reaction side barricade, and then of course, because I'm a righty, this is my weapon side that I'm utilizing my primary on. This particular range drill, we're doing everything, and everything will be shot from the weapon side of my body. Okay, so we're not going to shift the gun over to the reaction side. We will do that later for another specific drill. So a couple things on this. I want to make sure that my body parts, my legs especially, are behind cover, because if you get a shot in the leg or the thigh region, what do we have there that's very dramatic as far as bleeding out? Femoral artery. We'll try to take our shoulders, of course, and tuck them down. Engage the target. From here, if I engage the target, I will then move and just shift to engage the other piece of target. We're engaging all steel at this point from this range. Once I'm done, it is now going to be up to you, the shooter, lull in the gunfight. So if you need to, you roll that gun, do a tactical reload, top off your primary, get your mag stowed wherever you need to, and from here, you're going to run to the next barricade. You'll run to the next barricade, you'll engage the steel. 6 rounds on this steel, 6 rounds on that steel, and 6 rounds on every steel that is presented to you. If you need to and you run out of ammo, what are you going to do? Transition to your secondary weapon system. Give me at least 6 and clean your steel behind your door. At that point, top off your secondary, top off your primary, and then continue on. You will finish at the last door. So we're going to finish at the 50-yard line. One more thing with this drill. It's going to be a conga line. What I mean by that is, soon as shooter 1 engages 6 here, and clears this doorway right here, they're going to peel out. I'm going to have another shooter engaging, so you're going to have muzzle discipline. Muzzle down, safety on while you're running and gunning. I'll demonstrate it for you. So all that's going to happen here, going hot, engage, how many rounds?
6.
Shift over. Take your time if you need to, that's okay. Shoot fast when you can, slow it down, get your hits on target. At this point, I'll just muzzle the gun down, safety's on, and I will make movement to the next direction. And this is the direction that I want you to roll out in for this range evolution. I'll then move. Take up position. Shift over. Next piece of steel. Now what is probably something that I need to do right now?
Bring the gun up, get it in my workspace, do attack, reload. Make movement. Shift over. Scan. Drill's over. Yeah, we're hot. Take them.
Job safety on and move. Mark.
Show me how real quick how you normally do attack reload without this.
Ooh, without it. Ooh.
Yep. As a shooter, because you're having to work two separate weapons.
So I'm here, get high on it, then go low on it.
Yep. Get high on the mag, go low. Gotcha. That's exactly the way it's gonna work. People are about to come over into your world now, and they're about to hate life.
Sweet.
All right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna shoot that exact same drill again, but we're gonna shoot it as a lefty. And all it really is doing is giving us a lot of practice working our gun, manipulating our gun for doing a reaction side barricade, reaction side shoulder, okay? Ultimately, what you need to do and what you need to think about is how fast you need to neutralize that target, and then also how much cover do you need in which to do so. Because if I come up to this barricade and I engage from my weapon side, okay, I engage here, and for whatever reason I need to quickly just punch out and get this guy, fundamentally it's probably easier to just leave it on that shoulder. Would you agree? However, I don't know what's going to happen downrange in your scenario, because it may be better for you to actually go from this position of shooting, transition over to your reaction side and engage from here. But one of the things that you need to now think about is if your primary weapon and you're at distance stops working, how do you handle those procedures? Meaning, as a righty, if my gun, while I'm in this position, stops working, I do the chamber check, and then I roll and I go into doing a speed reload, or I do attack reload. However, now, if that happens after I've shifted the gun into this position and it happens here, how do I actually handle it? Because it's going to be a little different. All of a sudden, I am at distance, I'm beyond 50 yards where I would normally use my secondary. I'm here, I look, chamber check, it's empty. Obviously, my trigger finger can depress that magazine release button, and I can go right into inserting another magazine. That's really easy. But if you notice, this gun was not really built for a lefty in mind. That's why guys are coming up with ambi guns. So now, the dilemma is when I am in this position right here, and it's locked back to the rear, how do I now have to handle it? Because if you notice, there is no magazine release on this side. So how would you recommend that I now handle this portion right here? I roll the gun up, but now what? Do I start indexing my magazine? That's what I normally do, because normally I'm trying to do two things at once when I shoot it off my right-hand side, my weapon side. That is, drop the magazine and index my magazine. Okay, drop one magazine, depress the button while inserting and indexing my spare ammo. But now what do I have to do? Does it do me any good bringing ammo up right now, or should I clear it?
I clear it.
Kind of makes sense. If I'm here in this position, I break the gun down, press and strip it, insert. Now here's the next problem. One or two things. Either your trigger finger will reach what I refer to as the ping pong paddle or bolt release. Either your finger will reach that or not. If it reaches it, it's probably a good idea if you're strong enough to actually use it. Mine really doesn't. So now, how do I get that bolt forward? I don't want to use the charging handle because it's going to be extremely awkward. I can come up underneath and depress it, or I can actually reach around and pop it right here. Then get back up on my gun and engage and neutralize the targets. So those are some of the things that you guys need to think about, because as you guys are running and gunning, this is going to happen to you. 1 minute your gun's working, next minute it's not. How do I handle it if I haven't practiced it? So on this particular drill,
I'm gonna have you guys run from position to position with your guns in whatever condition they are when you leave this barricade, which means I do not want you right now to do a tack reload, okay, on this particular drill. But let's cover the tack reload, just so we're clear on it. I'm here. To do the tack reload, I usually clamp the magazines. So I'll index and I usually do this, but it looks like this on the reverse side. Now, I can't depress the magazine with my trigger finger. So I'm generally gonna have to get high up on the gun, strip this, rip it down, and then create enough space to get this new magazine in and seat it. Then regrip the magazine and get it back into whatever pouch you need to at this point, okay? So as far as attack reload goes, there's a lot more going on to actually do it and perform it if you're not running an ambi control. All right, so I'm gonna start off. Remember, muzzle to sight relationship, engage. Same thing. Safety on, and then I'm just gonna make movement. And then break down and make movement from there. Any questions? All right. Good job. Roll out. There, you're out. Gotta drop your muzzle because you're too close to the barricade. Pistol, 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 pistol. Give me 2 rounds, then we'll have you fix it. Safety, safety, safety. One, there you go. Okay, decock, thumb behind the hammer. Thumb behind the hammer. Easy, easy, hold it, hold it, hold it. Then you go in your holster. There you go.
So I came up here, dropped the mag with my other finger.
And with your trigger finger, depressed it, released it, and that actually is get a good payoff on that device.
Yeah.
So that's actually
I
pretty
never thought
quick.
about it like that.
Even if you had to do a tack reload, I mean, you're still good to go with that device. So good shooting.
Yeah, that was fun.
Way to blaze. All right, guys, on this particular drill, you guys are now teamed up. So we've done it as individuals, both weapon side, reaction side. We've done it also weapon side and then shifting it over to reaction side and working the weapon side barricade and reaction side barricade. So you guys should definitely be able to do this as a 2-person team. You guys are going to be stuck in these positions. What's basically going to end up happening is I'm going to start off on my weapon side. Wayne's going to start off on his reaction side. All right, ready, Wayne? We're going to start engaging a steel. We're working as a team now, so the command for me to make movement is going to be moving rear. I'm waiting for permission. He says, move, at which point I will turn, roll out. So for me, I will roll to my right because I do not have an operator to my right. So I'll roll out and I will take up an identical position on the other barricade. As soon as gunfire starts, the common sense factor takes over, and basically Wayne will collapse from this side of the barricade and he will make movement. Now, if you notice, there's blue barrels in between. If for some reason Wayne does not now hear gunfire, that is his next position of advantage to get behind until he does hear gunfire. So, what do you need to do if your primary stops working? Get your secondary up and running. When Wayne gets to your position at that point and starts laying down fire, then what would I do? Call check, put my stuff away, and then if he has a primary weapon malfunction, he knows his job is to protect us, in which case he'll put out his secondary weapon system and we will work and deconflict from there. And as you can see, we have 3 barricades, we have 2 barrels, and you will pick and choose depending upon what you hear and how things are going. So it's a shoot, move, communicate piece.
In this situation, what I would do is hug the barricade and lean out.
In the first few drills, I let you do that.
Right.
But now I'm asking you to not do that. I'm gonna have you try it just because I want you working this side. If you do have to do this, then one of the things that you can do from here, because I know you're a righty, you can roll the gun in and then you're gonna have to come out and engage one-handed. You're gonna have to hold your gun. You call check, get your secondary weapon system put away, then get your primary up, strip it, go. That's how you're gonna have to do it if you cannot get the sling where you want.
All right. That'll be all right. Yeah.
Stand by. Pump. All right, you hear the gunfire? Reload your kit. Back up, Joe. for someone who doesn't want to do it on that side. Good job. A little low. Take your time. Hit!
What I had to do is just adjust my stock a little bit. And I was able to adjust my body a little bit, turn my shoulder in just a little, and I was able to get the hit. So you're right.
You know what? If you don't try something new, you'll never know that you can actually do that. So great shooting. Good shooting, Alan. A real good question was asked. Derek said, hey, listen, when you run over to that doorway, wouldn't you normally say, as the operator over here, moving rear, and then wait for permission of move? The problem is with these guns, especially without cans, you're probably never going to hear that. It's a very good question. So the rule of thumb generally to signify was a burst, because no matter how many guns were online when you're engaging, you could always hear that quick burst out of automatic fire. However, we don't want to waste ammo, and every round down range is liability, so we want to make sure we're hitting our targets. The common sense factor takes over. That is, I'm on this side, I hear gunfire coming from over there. I, in reality, would have to take a quick look to make sure it's safe and then break down and take off. So it's a really good question. Now, if you're running suppressors, and everybody's running suppressors, then to do this drill with some comms, there's value added if you decided to do that. So you would not be wrong in running the same drill with suppressors and having communications take place. Okay, so that would actually be a positive if you could. But as soon as you start going handgun, you can't hear. Now, we're doing this as a range drill, and we're incorporating a lot of things. We're incorporating shooting from the reaction side barricade, from the reaction side shoulder. We're teaming up with another person that we can utilize in this event. All those lessons learned from the other day, we're now incorporating them. So I actually have a guy who understands my communications, and we can keep a gun up and running successfully. So, and you will make mistakes. I'll come out here and I'll make mistakes running with somebody that I haven't worked before, or just we could be working together a lot and I'll still make a mistake. So you never know how it's going to go. But the goal is for you to work your problems here with your partner. Okay? Keep doing what you're doing. Just be ready to reload or transition. Try a different mag. Try a different mag. Might be ammo related. If this doesn't work, you're going to have to go to your secondary. Get on it.
Wayne had a failure with his primary. His primary's dead, right? It's out of the fight. He's doing really good holding down the fort with his secondary. Corey comes up and takes position. They're both at the rearmost barricade. He's laying down fire right next to Wayne with his primary. Primary goes empty. Why does he transition to pistol? Wouldn't it be better in that situation to just, you've already got a guy, because you're not going to yell out check to your partner who's already on his pistol. Wouldn't it be better to just, instead of going to your pistol, get that primary back up and in the fight?
You can do that. He wouldn't have
just
been
an
wrong for
operator,
doing it.
just, yeah, okay.
I won't fault him for that. If he transitions to his secondary and he's a skilled shooter with the pistol,
right,
then I'm not going to fault him for that. If he does exactly what you're saying at the 50-yard line, because to me that's right there at that reasonable threshold for the average person. If he transitions to his secondary, he's not wrong. If he decides to just do a mag change on his primary, he's not wrong.
Right. Operator choice. Yeah.
Exactly, operator choice. What we're doing is we're just trying to create those problems and then let you ultimately come up with the decision that you feel that you need to do.
Okay.
And if you're skilled with your 1911 and you can shoot it at 50 yards pretty consistently, then I'll tell you what, I don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Some days are better than others. I'm better off getting my M4 back.
Nothing wrong with that. Awesome. Get on that gun, Neil! Miss, high left. Low. Low. Right. Hit. 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 Low. Jack! Pissed. Holy shit, you're covering for him! Work it out. I need both primaries up before we stop. Good job, Neil. Keep working it, keep working it. Give me 2 rounds on the shield, Neil. Ceasefire, ceasefire. Good job. So basically, what you had, great transition down there, Neil, because he was in the process, he just got up to the door, just started firing. You know what, it probably wouldn't have registered, and you got right back on your secondary. So had he had a problem or anything, you would have been covered. And when you think about what happened here, it's kind of funny because you're together, you called check, you said okay, you had a weapon malfunction, and then there's a pause. So remember, you protected him once, just protect him again, all right? Good shooting though, real good shooting. Good run. Everybody gather around over here, please.
So basically what we're going to do on this drill is you can take up any position you want. If you want to go down on one knee, you can. If you want to utilize both knees, you can. If you just want to squat, that's fine as well. The goal is that both Derek and I are going to work as a team. So the check drill still applies just like it has earlier. In this case, it's extremely important because we have a lot of targets out on the gun range and we're going to be making movement. Basically like a leapfrog fashion, if you want to break it down and make it easy, of going from one position to another while each other are trying to provide a constant rate of gunfire. So what we're simulating is that it's an extended gunfight. We're going to stay on our guns and we're going to deconflict and work out our problems. Hopefully we'll be successful.
Going hot. You guys are about to do the run. You saw me do the demo, me and Derek. The only thing I'm going to stress again, just to make sure, is watch your muzzle to sight relationship. So you'll see in some of the positions when you're shooting through the windows, of course, this is a range drill. We have cars that are already set up. I'm having you shoot it in a certain fashion so we're not getting into situations like, yes, we should be behind the engine block if possible. A lot of these cars, the tires are flat and there's a lot of frag all over the cars. So for safety, I'm having you shoot it in a certain manner. So when you punch through, remember, don't punch your barrel through these openings. Stay back as best as possible so you don't get your gun stuck. And just remember, where that barrel is may not be where the optic is.
Sure.
Okay. Other than that, let's have a good run. You guys ready?
Ready.
You still owe me 4 on this one and 4 on that one over there on the angle. You're here gonna have to break the gun in to get this guy. So I might just think about.
tunnel visioned and didn't realize this guy had a shot on me.
No problem. Your partner was right there and came through and you blasted him. Go. One of the things that you need to think about too, when you're making movement, we come up. There are times where we go low and there are times when we just got to break that gun actually into a high port and then roll out and move. I thought you and Neil had a really good run, so good shooting, good communication. Never did I really see a lull in a gunfight and somebody in some form or fashion had a weapon system up and running, so outstanding job. Way to smoke them. What you're going to do here is you have in front of you presented 4 paper targets. Down range, of course, at about the 50 to 75, we have 3 pieces of steel.
What's going to happen is you're going to engage the paper targets first, starting left to right. So you're going to shoot forward to the body, forward to the head, forward to the body, forward to the head from this position right here. So this is where you're going to start the position from. After that, you're going to, however you need to, move over in front of the steel, take up a kneeling position. I do not care how you kneel. So you can go supported, unsupported, you can lean back on it, whatever you feel is most comfortable to you, the shooter. Engage the steel, 2, 2, 2. At that point, I want you to do a tactical reload. Get this one put away, go prone. Once you go prone, 2, 2, 2. You're then going to come back up to a knee, engage 2, 2, 2 again, and then from here, just move over and engage these targets. Forward to the body, forward to head, forward to body, forward to head. Any questions? Yep. So we're just working our way down, working our way back up, and I'm going to shoot it slow so there's no questions. Just take your time. Check! Ready! And I'm out of ammo. If you need a transition, do so. Whatever you need to do to work your weapon problems. You see that if you do a tac reload, I was only carrying 1 magazine on me, but it paid off. Had I put that magazine in my pocket, I probably wouldn't have indexed my pocket first. I would have just went right to my belt. 90% of the time, the shooter will always go to the belt or the pouch to access those magazines, not to a pocket. Had that been in a dump bag, it would have been mixed in with possible empty mags. So those are things that you need to consider. Of course, I'm only carrying 1. So if you do a true tactical reload, I'm generally feeding from my last magazine. That way, as the gunfight continues, since you guys are carrying more magazines than me right now, you feed from the front, therefore all your speed reloads are with full magazines, and then you'll finally get down to that last partial magazine, and it could be those 2 or 3 rounds that may save your life. But the bottom line is you will feed from your pouch. So just something to think about. Neil, you're up. Shooters ready? Stand by. Bust. Send it. Okay. We need a chamber check, didn't we? We just assumed. You're gonna be kidding me, Derek. This is rookie stuff. Come on, get that gun back up into the fight. I don't believe, man. You're letting me down. You're letting the team down. Lock that bolt to the rear. Lock the bolt to the rear. Lock the bolt to the rear. We're gonna work this. Lock it to the rear. Insert a magazine. Use the ping pong paddle. There we go. Good shooting, Derek. Get up on these targets. Bust them.
So tell me, Derek,
That's why I like to run it again.
what went wrong?
The whole concept of checking the chamber is somewhat vital, keeping your weapon up and running.
Had you just checked your chamber,
I don't think-
what would have happened though? Had you checked your chamber, what would you have seen?
I would have seen,
problem.
I think it was a stovepipe,
Yeah,
so
it was-
brass?
Yep.
Okay.
So then you would have treated it.
Treat it, I would swipe the brass away, lock the boat to the rear, double check the chamber.
Boom, and then you would have been back up into the fight.
You know, having a class from Chris, knowing him before the class, it was, oh, I know what he's gonna do. But I really didn't know what he was gonna do. Check!
Okay.
So some of the things he's done today I've never seen. I've been to a couple classes and you never think, you know, he comes up with some pretty cool stuff to train on that we wouldn't do anywhere else.
You got to keep your head in the game. You got to be ready to run the gun. It's always a challenging class.
Good job.
Ready?
Good job. Safe and hang.
I'd say the most important thing that I take away from this class is to just learn to slow down and accomplish the task at hand. And if I do that, then I'm less prone to make another failure.
Outstanding. Safe and hang.
There's so much to do at once, and the drills really kind of beat that into you.
The class puts stress on you, so it gives you an opportunity to mess up, but it gives you a chance to actually try various techniques and perfect them in an environment where your life isn't on the line with pressure. It's a pressure you won't get just simply running a firearm at a static range.
Oh shit, we didn't transition! Come on!
There's a lot you can take away from this class to then go work on those drills with your friends and with like-minded people. So even if you're a guy that's taken a lot of classes, you need to get out there and you need to experience a class environment again.
Slow down. Hit! There you go.
I care about the students. The students are very, very important because I hope that at the end of the day, all the students realize that I am really, truly trying to help them. That there's no ego here. Hell, I'll come out here and make mistakes, and hopefully I work through them. But the bottom line is that the student needs to know that I am keeping their best interest here. The fact of the matter is if you practice it, you can do it. And if you want to set limitations on yourself, great. But those limitations don't really play a role in my class because we're going to work beyond that. Because you know what? You could be better. You know what I'm saying? You could be a better shooter. We just got to find out. We just got to take you to the point of failure and make you work that. And that's what it's all about.